Welcome to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, the podcast where we dive deep into the journey from vision to reality. I'm Kelly Jackson, your guide on this path of self-discovery, transformation, and intentional living. Here, we explore everything from mindset shifts and personal growth to spiritual alignment and entrepreneurship, sharing insights, stories, and actionable wisdom to help you live a life in harmony with your dreams. Every episode will dig into what it means to not only dream big, but to actually consciously create the life you envision. Let's turn your dreams into real life. Welcome back, friends. Guys, we are just 2 days away from the start of Self-Love Uni group coaching on January 15th. And we're like less than 2 weeks into the new year. So what better way to prepare for the group coaching and this new year ahead of us than with today's episode, which is all about tapping into the power of meditation to reprogram your mind, regulate your nervous system, and access the quantum field. Now, I love talking all things metaphysical, quantum field. Guys, we're going to get into all of it today. We're going to explore the science behind meditation, including brainwave states and heart-brain coherence. And then we're going to dive into the metaphysical concepts like quantum leaps and multidimensionality and manifestation. So whether you are brand new to meditation, by the way, it's life-changing, or you're looking to deepen your practice, this episode is going to leave you feeling grounded, inspired, and ready to step into your highest self. Let's get started. Now, I'm going to adjust the mic here, get a little more comfortable before we get started. Let's talk about the science of meditation and the brain, because we're going to get, I'm going to tell you something funny here. I remember the first time somebody said I was woo-woo. I'd never heard of that before. And it was someone I was working with in a business sense, and they just said, yeah, you're woo-woo. And I was like, what is woo-woo? Like, I don't even know what that means. And I'd already begun this journey, and it was just my first time hearing the phrase. And so now I have embraced the fact that I am woo-woo, that some people think that the things that I talk about are woo-woo, and that's okay. So we might get into some of that woo-woo stuff later, but we're going to start with the science because I really love the science too, okay? So let's start with the brainwave states and their roles. Now, meditation helps us shift out of the high beta brainwave states. And that is where stress and overthinking dominate. Like if you are an overthinker, if you're like constantly feeling stressed, that's letting you know that your brainwave state's pretty much staying in those like high beta brainwaves, okay? And meditation is going to help you shift from those high beta brainwave states into lower frequency states like alpha and theta. And the alpha waves, they promotes like relaxation and creativity. And we want to feel relaxed and we want to be creative. That is like tapping into our divine power, creativity. We are meant to create. And the theta waves, these are like the gateway to the subconscious mind, which enables deep reprogramming and healing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but like you've got the subconscious mind, so much of everything you do, say, and think comes from these subconscious programs that you're running on, that you're not even consciously aware of. And when we can shift our brain waves into that theta state, that is allowing us, like I said, it's the gateway to access the subconscious mind. And that's where we can start doing this deep reprogramming and all of the healing that is so yummy and so important and so integral to our personal development journey and becoming the most true, authentic, whole, complete, fulfilled version of ourselves, right? So, okay, the gamma waves, these are associated. So we said alpha promotes like relaxation and creativity, and theta is like accessing the subconscious mind so you can do the reprogramming, the healing. Well, then there's gamma waves, and this is associated with moments of insight and heightened awareness. And it can also be activated through advanced meditation practices. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's one of the early people I started learning about the science behind meditation from. And he's got lots of books, lots of resources. I've got them listed several places on my sites, websites and things where you can access. His studies show that shifting into these states can rewire the brain and the body for transformation. You can actually heal your body through meditation. Guys, I've done it. Listen to episode 2 of this podcast on my holistic healing journey, and I talk about this. Neuroplast, okay, so I talk about this that I'm talking about how I personally, I give you examples about how in my life I have used meditation as a means to upregulate my DNA and heal not only my mental health, my emotional health, but like my physical health. Complete shift, complete paradigm shift, complete transformation. Okay? So the brain is not fixed. It is constantly evolving. And neuroplasticity means that we can form new neural connections and dissolve the old patterns through focused repetition and visualization. Meditation activates this process by quieting the analytical mind and opening the door for new habits and beliefs, which is essentially just allowing us to become the architects of our own reality. And that is another thing that I learned from Dr. Joe, that all the habits you want to change reside in the subconscious mind, but you have to move beyond the analytical mind, the thinking mind, to access the subconscious mind, which is where all those habits you want to change reside, right? And so oftentimes I will talk to people or work with people who will say that habits are so hard to change. Well, for one, that's a limiting belief. You have to quit saying and affirming to yourself that habits are so hard to change. Number one. And then number two, are you meditating? Because if you're not, that could be a big indicator or like that could be the reason. Okay? If you're struggling with being able to change your habits or like sustain the habits that you did change, well, for one, do you have a limiting belief there? Do you have a limiting belief? Have you been telling yourself that habits are hard to change. You got to reprogram that and say that I'm capable of creating new habits and releasing ones that are no longer serving me. And then practice meditation as a tool to move beyond the analytical mind, to access the subconscious mind, which is where the 95% of everything you're doing, saying, and thinking is coming from. And all those habits you want to change, that's where they're living in this subconscious mind, these subconscious programs you're running on, okay? So we use meditation. We use focused repetition. We use visualization. And I'm going to get into how to do that a little later. I just want to touch on the science behind it and remind you that the brain is not fixed and that we can create new neural pathways. This is neuroplasticity. This is what it's about. The new neural connections by practicing meditation, focused repetition, visualization. All of these things can create a brand new brain. Okay? It's pretty cool. The human body is really amazing. Another thing, speaking of the human body, is that we can become addicted to stress. And many people are unknowingly addicted to the biochemical cocktail of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline that they've been pumping into their body because they're living in a state of fight or flight, fawn or freeze. And meditation interrupts this addiction by calming the nervous system and reducing cortisol levels. And research has shown that consistent meditation not only reduces anxiety, but it also increases dopamine and serotonin, which creates a natural state of joy and balance. And look, if I've been there, I was addicted to a life I didn't even like because I was living in a constant state of fight or flight, constantly stressed out, constantly just on edge, right? And I was so jumpy. You could tell my nervous system was dysregulated. If somebody walked in the room and I didn't see them or know, I would jump out of my skin. Such a dysregulated nervous system, right? And I didn't even realize at the time that because your body's not designed to live in a constant state of fight or flight. And it was constantly releasing hormones like the cortisol, the adrenaline, right? Which you're meant to do for when you need it. That's what the fight or flight, fawn or freeze comes in, right? When you need it, but your body does not know how to handle the constant production of these stress hormones. And so they are very addictive, more addictive than probably anything else. And so you just stay there and it's a cycle. And if you're unconscious of it, if you're unaware of it, you really just get stuck in a loop, in a cycle. Okay? And so my life really started changing, when I introduced meditation as a daily practice. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about heart and brain coherence. And it has been shown in multiple studies that meditation strengthens heart-brain coherence. And that is when the rhythms of the heart and the brain synchronize. And this state of coherence, it enhances your intuition and your emotional resilience and just your general overall well-being. It's like calibrating your inner radio into a higher frequency where clarity and calmness become your baseline. And it's a really beautiful place to be imagine if you even just think, like, I'm kind of got my hands here. I know you're listening and there's not the visual experience, but I've kind of got one hand right at my heart center, one hand here in front of my third eye, and they're just, it's where they come together. It's where they meet. It's where you feel that synchronicity of the rhythm, and there's coherence. And it's not like your brain is leading you in one direction and your heart is leading you in another. It's that place where everything is aligned and it all comes together, and you feel whole and complete, and you feel attuned to the vibration that is your higher self. Your brain and your heart are on the same page. Can't you even, just hearing me say that, can't you sense how good that feels when your brain and your heart are like on the same page, right? So this is one of the things that meditation, and again, we're talking about the science here, guys. So everything I'm talking about, this has been proven in scientific studies. This is not woo-woo. This is real. It's real. It's science. Okay? It can be tested and measured. And it's pretty cool. And when you start looking at scans of people, of like the brain scans while people are meditating, and you're actually really like seeing how your brain waves go from those beta waves to the alpha waves to the theta waves and even the gamma waves, and you watch this on scans, like, it's really fascinating. And to know that's what's happening inside of your body when you do it too. And so again, we're going to talk about the science, then we're going to get into all of the fun metaphysical stuff. So the other thing, meditation activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the body's rest and digest mode. And that allows us to shift out of fight or flight responses that I was just talking about. And it stimulates the vagus nerve, which promotes relaxation and healing. And it reduces inflammation and improves your heart rate variability. Do you understand that this regulation creates the physiological foundation for lasting change? You can do this through meditation. And I know I don't. Before I got into meditation, yoga, breath work, I discovered all three at the same time and began to implement a daily practice of all three at the same time. I didn't even really know what the nervous system was. Like, honestly, I wasn't a science, I didn't know what it was in the fact of like how it was affecting me in my life. You'd maybe like heard about it in science, but I never went deep into it because it didn't matter to me. I didn't understand. I didn't even have the awareness that my life was being affected in this way. My nervous system was dysregulated. I didn't even know what that meant. I was living with a very dysregulated nervous system and had no idea what that even meant. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't even believe I had ever heard the word dysregulated nervous system. Activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Those were not things that I was hearing from the people I was hanging around, from the groups, from my relationships, from the things I was consuming, be that like a podcast or TV or movies or books or whatever. Like, this just wasn't the realm of things that I was knowing about, learning about. And then enter meditation. And then I started reading about these sorts of things and started learning about how much my life was being affected by the fact that I was living with a dysregulated nervous system, and how I could use my meditation practice to activate my parasympathetic nervous system and actually help my body shift out of all of those fight or flight responses and all of that excess production of the stress hormones of adrenaline and cortisol, and how that was manifesting itself in my body in undesirable ways in my physical body. And so this is really important. And I encourage you to, again, if you're not already meditating, I really encourage you to begin a meditation practice. Let 2025 be the year that you meditate. Studies have shown, again, meditation, it improves your focus, it lowers your blood pressure, and it even increases the gray matter density in the brain. And guys, I'm saying like from CEOs to athletes and anyone in between, like anybody you can even think of, many high performers credit meditation as a key tool for maintaining peak mental and physical health. Okay? It's for you too. So I want to talk a little bit more about the subconscious mind and reprogramming beliefs and how we can use meditation as a tool to do that. And first, you have to understand the subconscious mind. By the age of 35, 95% of our thoughts and behaviors are automated, driven by subconscious programming. And, you know, a lot of our subconscious programming, I don't have a statistic off the top of my head, but happens by the time you're 7 years old. Like that, the first 7 years of your life is when you are being programmed, really. And then, of course, this is coming from your parents, grandparents, caregivers, the adults in your life. It could be the teachers, could be some organizations that you're a part of, whether those are churches or non-secular things, organizations, athletics, anything, right? All of these things are that you're experiencing, those particularly first 7 years of your life, you are subconsciously learning from what you are observing. So even if it wasn't being taught, it was being caught. I just was reading Abundant Ever After, and I love that Kathy Heller wrote that book, that she used that. She's like, it's not taught, but it's caught. Talking about the first 7 years, right? About how they might not be specifically teaching you this, but you're catching on by what you're seeing and what you're observing, the dynamics of, say, your parents, whether they were together, whether there was a divorce there, whether there was there is a million different family dynamics. I could not possibly list them all here. But what I'm saying is that you have to understand how much you are internalizing about money, about self-worth, about self-love, about everything that relationships, about literally everything. You were just soaking it in like a sponge, not filtering anything. You're just soaking it all in. And you're forming, your subconscious mind is being formed like, and think too, not only just from, I said all the teachers and coaches and guardians and parents, but also like, I know for me, I was a TV kid. Like I grew up in front of the TV. I did. Now I played outside and did sports. I did all that too, but there was a lot of TV watching in my life. And so I think of all of those TV families that, quote, raised me, right? And like what I was learning from the messages on all those shows and the good, the bad, the ugly, who even knows? But like, you understand what I'm saying? All of these things were influencing us and developing, creating that subconscious mind. So here we are by the age of 35, 95%. And before 35, I'd say 85 to 90% of our thoughts and behaviors are automated and driven by this subconscious programming. And so meditation allows us to access this hidden operating system and rewrite outdated scripts that are keeping us stuck. Nobody wants to be stuck. And friends, you are not stuck. You are not stuck. If you're feeling stuck, though, it's time to take a look at the subconscious mind. And one way we can do that is through meditation. And again, I'm not just going to tell you meditate and then not tell you more about how to do it. We're going to get into that later. So just stick with me here. Now, how can we access the subconscious mind through meditation? Well, when we enter those theta brainwave states, we bypass the critical mind, the analytical mind, right? And we access the subconscious directly. And this is where these deep-seated patterns can be reprogrammed through intention and repetition. That's how we do it. That's how we create and lay down those new neural pathways, is through repetition. And then we set the intention. And intention, I've said this so many times, intention plants the seed, right? So and also visualization during meditation plants seeds of possibility into the subconscious. And that helps us to embody new beliefs and behaviors. And studies show mental rehearsal can create the same neural changes as actual experience. There is a study, Dr. Blaslato, I believe his name. I wish I could think of I think it was like the University of Chicago. I know I do talk about this in Self-Love Uni, but I don't have it right in front of me. I'm still going to tell you about it. I think it was in the late 70s this was done. He took 3 groups of just random groups, split them into 3 groups. And, each group, they were given basketballs and asked to do free throws. And so they did free throws and they measured it and they wrote it down. And then he said, okay, or first they maybe had everybody go and throw, and then they split them into 3 groups. And they said, Group 1, you are going to report to the gym every day and you're going to practice free throws for 30 minutes a day, every day for 30 days. Group 2, you are going to do nothing. You are going to not touch a ball and you are not going to practice and you are not going to do anything for 30 days. And Group 3, you are going to report to the gym, but you're not going to touch a ball. For 30 minutes, you are going to sit and visualize making every single free throw, but you never touch a ball. They came back in a month and the 3 groups went again. And the group that did nothing saw 0% improvement. The group that practiced every day saw, I believe, a 24% improvement. And the group that did not touch a ball, but that practiced visualization every day for 30 minutes saw a 23% improvement. So the people who did nothing saw no improvement. The people who practiced visualization for the same amount of time as the group that practiced hands-on practice saw nearly the exact same results. Guys, that's just one example. There's lots of examples out there, okay? This is how powerful the power of repetition and visualization are. Now think about applying that to your life. Think what you can do, right? Have you even been living in the fullness of your capabilities? Did you even realize how the pure potential that you have that exists within you to create anything that you desire, like using meditation and visualization and repetition? Guys, whether this is health, wealth, building something, creating something, love, anything, you can do it. You can use this as a tool to help you do it, okay? And be it and embody it. It's so exciting. I want you to know that meditation, it shines a light on limiting beliefs, okay? It's going to help us to observe them without judgment and replace them with empowering ones, these limiting beliefs. And this process can feel like shedding layers of outdated programming. When you break free from limiting patterns, it is like a huge weight being lifted off of you. And it feels like the absence of resistance, which feels like momentum. And it's a really good feeling to start to feel momentum in the direction of your dreams and your goals and your desires, right? And look, meditation can do that. You can also heal trauma through meditation. And research demonstrates that meditation can reduce the symptoms of PTSD and anxiety and depression, giving the nervous system space to reset and to heal stored trauma, because the body keeps score, and the body holds trauma. And we do store that trauma. And meditation helps to release and heal all of that. And guys, I've been there. Again, in episode 2, my holistic healing journey, I tell you, I was diagnosed with depression at age 11 and began to be given medicine, like pharmaceuticals, to treat it. I didn't know no one, my lifestyle and my family and where I was in my life, like nobody knew about meditation. No one wasn't teaching me meditation. They weren't teaching me stillness. And I was suffering from depression, and the Band-Aid, or like it was, and I'm not saying that didn't do what it was designed to do, that it didn't alter my chemical makeup. But if you look at it from the sense of living in a state of fight or flight, even as a young child prior to the age of 11, because, so much of our environment, just everything contributes to our well-being. This is like, I'm a holistic lifestyle coach. This is part of the holistic healing, the whole idea, right, of taking a holistic approach. And so I wasn't taught meditation. I didn't know that was a tool. So I was given medication. And then not long after the depression, then it was medication for anxiety and ADHD and all of these other things. Again, never along the way ever hearing, have you heard of meditation? Have you tried meditation? Meditation could help with any of those things. That was not ever even something in my world that was like introduced to me, brought up to me. It wasn't. So it wasn't a tool I had. And once I started meditating as an adult, I was able to, through an intentional practice with meditation and reprogramming my subconscious mind and all of these things, I was able to heal from the depression and the anxiety and the ADHD, or find ways to live with it where these weren't affecting me in a way where I required pharmaceutical medication to balance my internal state to be like happy and functioning and calm and regulated. I learned how to do that through meditation, visualization, repetition, intention. And you can do it too, is what I'm saying. Anybody can do this. I'm not special in that way at all. I am a person who very much struggled with toxic relationships, no boundaries, depression, anxiety, unworthiness, low self-esteem, insecurity, wounded ego. There were like, the list goes on. And I just realized that, like, you heard that saying, one day you wake up and just decide you don't ever want to be like that again, and you decide to change. And that was kind of it for me. And meditation is one of the tools that I have used, that I can 100% like tell you, this is something that I have used in my life to heal physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, health, like all of the things. And if I can do it, you can do it. So I want you to just know that meditation will help you to identify and release your limiting beliefs and experience the shift in your life that you would like to see. Okay? Now, I really, let's talk about manifestation and the quantum field, because I love this. Now, the quantum field is the invisible space where energy and information exist. And science tells us that everything is energy, vibrating at different frequencies. So if you take an atom, and inside of the atom, you've got the little nucleus of the atom, right? The little electron, the proton, like all of this stuff moving around. Do you know that, like, inside of an atom is 99.9999999, like 12 nines % empty space? So it's just moving around in there. The little nucleus, it's just moving all around in that little atom. And we are like made up of atoms. Everything is like made up of atoms, right? And only 0.0000000, there's like 11 zeros there, 0.1% of what's inside of that is actually like a physical, everything else is just empty space. And it's just moving around. It's vibrating inside of there. We are energetic beings. We are vibrational beings. And we are all vibrating at different frequencies. Everything is vibrating, not just people. Everything is vibrating at a frequency. I've said this before, like even your clothing, like fabric, material, organic cotton vibrates on a much higher frequency than some sort of synthetic polyester fiber. Okay? Everything has a vibration. Well, meditation allows us to tune into this field, this quantum field. And remember, this is the invisible space where energy and information exist. All of the information. And meditation allows us to tune into this field and to access new possibilities that already exist but haven't yet materialized in our 3D reality. Guys, we're not just physical beings. We're energetic and we're multidimensional. And meditation helps us connect to higher dimensions where intuition and creativity and insights flow freely. And this is how we begin to influence reality from the inside out. When we are meditating and when we've moved moved past the thinking mind, the critical mind, the analytical mind, right? And we've gotten out of the fight or flight, and we're in a regulated state, and we're feeling calm, and we've got our brain waves have moved into theta, possibly even gamma, depending on, right, where we are in our meditation. When we're there, we are able to, the connection, we're like plugged into source. We're like receiving the infinite intelligence, the infinite wisdom of the divine. It's always there. It's always accessible, right? Just like the radio stations, when you get in your car and nothing's playing because the car isn't turned on. When you turn the car on, when you give it some juice, when you give it the energy it needs, right? When you turn the car on, the radio turns on, and then you can tune into whatever frequency. All of the stations already exist. It's already there. Same thing. When we sit down to meditate, all of the answers, you know how I say this often to clients, to you online, everywhere, that you already have everything you need inside of you. It's the same thing. So when you sit in meditation and you quiet the mind so that the soul can speak, you are allowing yourself to access this infinite intelligence. All of the answers, they're already there. And you tap into that. When you're meditating and through this focused thought and elevated emotion, right? Meditation allows us to collapse timelines and jump into new versions of ourselves. And this isn't magic. It's aligning energetically with a future version of ourselves that already exists. Now, if you were like, what? You lost me. That's okay. Some of you are like, oh yeah, more about quantum leaps and timeline shifts. I'm ready for it. I'm going to talk about it a little more. There was a show. It's funny. When I was a child, there was a show that I used to watch. I told you I grew up on TV, and it was called Quantum Leaps. Quantum Leap, I think it was what it was called. And I remember being fascinated by it as a child because I was like, the story line was just each episode he would just be in someone else's body, right? Like he would just, it started and he never knew where he was, and he was just like living someone else's life. Well, now, and the show was called Quantum Leap. Now, it's not like that. You're not literally arriving in someone else's body on some other timeline or something like that. What it is, what I'm talking about, quantum leaps and timeline shifts, is when you are sitting in meditation. When I say you can collapse timelines and jump or leap into new versions of yourself, what I'm saying is that every version of you that you can imagine, like it already exists in the quantum field. The version of you, any version of you that you can exist, that you can imagine, if you imagine it, it exists in the quantum field. And so when you're in meditation and you've moved beyond ego and you're, when you're sitting there accessing the quantum field, and you can tap into and connect with the version of yourself that is already living inside of the dream that you have for yourself, because that version of you already exists. And then you're able to talk to that version of yourself, ask that version a question. What is the next best step of integrity to take for me to be there. And listen to what they are telling you. They is you. You are them. They're already there. In the quantum field, time does not exist the way that when I tell you that we're going to have a Zoom call at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and maybe you're like Pacific Coast, right? And so you're like, oh, I got to make an adjustment because that's going to be, 9 a.m. my time or whatever. Like when you think of time in that sense, what I'm saying is when you're meditating and when you're in the quantum field, time doesn't exist like that. Time is like a man-made construct, right? And you thinking that you have to realize that when you're in meditation, you're moving beyond all of that, and things can happen with a speed that, like, your entire life can change tomorrow. Like if you are sitting here believing that you're just stuck in some cycle and that you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to have the same set of problems and the same set of obstacles and the same set of whatever, that is where meditation can help, because meditation can help you realize that you're sitting in meditation and you're like, okay, I am awake, grounded, and present on my most abundant timeline, and I know exactly what to do. And when you're sitting there in meditation with that repetition, I am awake, grounded, and present on my most abundant timeline, and I know exactly what to do. And from that space, you are accessing that version of yourself who, yes, has done it. And they are talking back to you, and they are giving you the next best step of integrity, the next best step of alignment to take. And then you listen, you're listening to yourself, but not to yourself that's filtered through ego and other people's opinions and all that. No, like you're tapped in and plugged into source and connected to the divine, and you are in the quantum field, and anything is possible there. All of the energy and information exist. And you become attuned to that higher vibration of being in that meditative state with that elevated emotion of how you want to feel. Because the things that you want, Abraham Hicks says this, that we want the things we want because we believe we will feel better in the having of them. But the key is to get out ahead of it, to feel good even in the not having of it. That is how you attract it to you. And so when you're in the quantum field, this is back to me, when you're in the quantum field, what I'm telling you when you're meditating is that you can tap into those elevated emotions even in the not having of it, quote unquote. It may not, circumstances don't matter. So what you're seeing in the physical, the 3D, might show you signs that I don't have this thing that I want. But what that's really all that the 3D is showing you is your past beliefs, your past actions, your past, all of the things, right? Everything, all your limiting beliefs of the past, or any of your beliefs. What you're currently experiencing, the way your body looks, the number of zeros in your bank account, the quality of the relationships you have, the job that you either love or hate, like all of these things that you're currently experiencing are because of all of the ways you thought and believed and acted leading up to this moment. What I'm telling you is when you're meditating, none of that stuff matters. And you are tapped into the quantum field where all possibilities exist and already are. And there is a vibrational vortex there. That's another thing Abraham Hicks says, right? That you've got this vibrational vortex, and as soon as you shoot the rocket of desire, I want this thing, this whatever the thing is. And when I say thing, it's not always a material thing. It could be a feeling or whatever the thing is that you desire, and you shoot the rocket of desire out into the universe. As soon as you have the idea, then it becomes part of your vibrational vortex, and it is already yours. There's a version of you that exists within the quantum field that already has and embodies that. And so your only job at that point is to become aware of, identify, and clear, release any blocks or resistance that is keeping you from receiving it. Because that's a big part of meditation, is putting yourself into a place of receptivity. And oftentimes, if we want all of these things, but we're not attracting them into our lives, then there is some sort of subconscious block there that we need to become aware of, so that there's a limiting belief there that's in our subconscious mind, right? We're unaware of it. And so we've got to identify what that limiting belief is that has created a subconscious program that is preventing us from receiving the thing that we say that we want. Okay? So, again, the future version of ourselves, it already exists. And quantum leaps and timeline shifts and all of this fun stuff, meditation allows us to collapse those timelines and jump into new versions of ourselves and get the answers that we need so that we can become the version of ourselves that can receive, that has the capacity to receive all that we are asking for. Ask and it is given. It's already yours. But if you do not yet have the capacity to receive, then you've got to clear the way and create that. Okay? And look, guys, manifestation, it really is all about vibration. And by using gratitude and visualization, meditation can help us resonate with the frequency of what we want to create, which makes it easier for us to attract into our reality. And I want to say one more thing about time is malleable in the quantum field, okay? When we align emotionally and mentally with a desired outcome, we can bring the future closer, effectively collapsing the time that it takes for it to manifest. That's what I want you to hear. Don't get caught up in waking up every day thinking, I have the same challenges, I have the same obstacles to overcome. That, and then feeling like it's so far away. It's so, my dreams, my goals, the things I want, it's so far away. Guys, it's closer than you think. And you can use, when you learn how to effectively align emotionally, mentally, brain, heart, coherence with your desired outcome, you really can effectively collapse the time it takes for it to manifest. When you're doing the work in the quantum field, when you're trying to moving matter, there's lots of resistance there. Energy moving energy, it's fluid, right? You want to do all this in the energetic space. And we'll come back to that. So I just want to let you know that I support quantum shifts and manifestation through meditation. I've done it in my own life. It is possible. I'm not saying that it's just easy breezy. Yes, it becomes effortless once you understand that you are the only one in your way. Until you recognize that, it can feel frustrating. You can feel like everybody's talking about manifestation. It feels like manipulation, like that's not real. It's not just so easy. Well, first, if you believe manifestation isn't real and it's not easy, again, limiting belief, right? And so you got to first look at your beliefs and make sure that they are aligned with who you want to be, who you're saying you want to be, and you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are, and you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you believe. And so you can say you want to manifest, but if you have a belief that manifesting isn't real, or that manifestation is, when people talk about manifesting, they're just trying to manipulate you. If this is your belief system, then again, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you believe. So you got to start by looking at your beliefs. And to be clear, beliefs are, a belief is something that you have just repeated so many times. Like, you don't even know if beliefs are true. Like, some of the things that you believe may not even be true. For instance, if you grew up hearing, you got to work hard for money, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, you like all of these limiting beliefs around money, then you are going to have subconsciously developed a lack mentality, a scarcity mentality around money. And without realizing it, that is going to affect the way you move through life and your ability to receive money and what you have to do to get money, right? There's going to be resistance there. And as opposed to someone who has the belief system that money flows to me freely in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. And abundance is my birthright, right? Money, and look, abundance is beyond money, but I'm using money specifically here because this is a common one that people get hung up on because of all of the limiting beliefs that were passed down. So again, what I was talking about here was belief system. Just because it's part of your belief system doesn't mean it's true. So it's your belief system because you've just heard that story so many times. It's the one that was passed down to you, right? Yes. And so you can change your belief system. You start telling yourself another story, start believing something new. Do you know how many limiting beliefs, how many beliefs I have changed in myself from when I started this journey? It's a very, very, very large number. And look, I'm still actively doing it all the time. I'm not done. I still have limiting beliefs. And the more I continue on this journey and the more I align with people who inspire and motivate and challenge me in all the best ways, and I recognize that everyone I meet is a mirror, and I'm constantly looking for ways to shine the light of my consciousness on shadow aspects of myself, on limiting beliefs, on anything that could be preventing me from living my most authentic, most fulfilling, most favorite life, So there's a couple things, though. I want to talk about meditation as a daily practice, but I think I need to debunk a couple meditation myths and misconceptions. One of them being, meditation does not mean clearing all thoughts. Clearing all thoughts. And there's no one, quote, right way to meditate. So this is what I mean by that. Meditation is not sitting in silence with your brain completely free from any thought whatsoever. Because that's, for most people, not realistic. Or not their experience. That's not their lived experience. They're I sit down to meditate and my mind won't shut off. And so What meditation is the invitation to be a witness to those thoughts, to observe your thoughts without judgment, and to allow your thoughts to come into your mind without judgment, and then leave your mind without judgment. And it's really just about the awareness. And then as your awareness increases and some of these thoughts come into your mind, you're able to discern whether or not that thought is, whether that belief, that thought, whatever just popped into, would just floated into your mind, is that one you want to follow? Is that one you want to release? Is that one that's positively serving you? Is that one that's aligned with the person you say you are becoming? And so you become more aware, you become a witness, loving kindness, not judgment, right? And you don't have, the goal doesn't have to be to sit there with no thoughts, is all I'm saying. At least become a witness of your thoughts. Start there without judgment. Watch them come in. And then as your self-awareness grows, you're going to discover. And look, even sitting there and watching your thoughts without judgment and then letting them go and just focusing on them, you're still, again, when you're doing it without judgment, you're regulating your nervous system and you're still getting the benefits. And there's no right way to do it. You can do a seated meditation. You can do a guided meditation. You can do a breathing meditation. You can do a body scan, a walking meditation. Think about being in silence. Like I oftentimes, again, there's just no one right way to do it. And there's even movement-based practices that are like yoga nidra, okay? Visualization. There's just, and I can list some here. I do have guided meditations. I've got, they're for free. It's like 10 guided meditations. I think they range between 5 and 50 minutes. And they're for everyone, no matter if you're a beginner or you've been meditating for years. This will meet you where you are. And yeah, it's just a gift from me to you. I'll put the link down there. You can download them. And it's a good little variety. And so that's a guided meditation. Sometimes it's helpful. And even though I've been meditating for over 8 years now daily, I use all of these different modalities. Like I practice meditation with my breath, where I'm focused on my breath, and that is what I'm giving attention to. Sometimes I do guided meditations. I do my own. I do them from other people who I enjoy their meditations. Sometimes I'm focused on visualization. That is what I sit down to meditate, truly to practice visualization. Sometimes I practice a silent meditation, a seated meditation, where I will challenge myself for 30 minutes, no music, no anything, and no movement. And the challenge there is to, even if I feel a hair that's kind of tickling me, or my nose is itching, or I feel like I might want to adjust my position a little more to be more comfortable, the challenge there is that you feel whatever it is that's triggering you without reacting to it, and you breathe into it. And sometimes, you'll feel like an itch on your back, and it seems like, oh my gosh, I've got to scratch this. I've got to scratch this. It's so uncomfortable. And the challenge, though, is like, I'm going to not react to anything this whole time. And so you're inviting yourself to breathe into it, to locate this place where you're feeling discomfort or whatever, and respond without reacting, right? And look, the way that this translates into life, it's really powerful. And sometimes I'll go for walks barefoot. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. I do like my barefoot hikes in the woods and ground, and I hug trees regularly. I climb a tree probably once a week or so. Like, I've just climbed a tree and all of these things. And I'm doing this without a headset on. I love to walk, without music, without a podcast, without talking to another person, and just being absorbed in nature. And this is a form of meditation as well. Going and sitting outside and listening to the rain or something, that's a meditation as well, right? There's so many ways to do it, guys. And I want to tell you, if you are interested, if you don't already have a daily meditation habit, but you're interested in cultivating one, I want to encourage you to do that. Even if you have a, quote, busy schedule, again, meditation, I said this in the last episode, I think it's a Tibetan proverb or something of some kind, but it says meditate for 20 minutes a day unless you don't have time, in which case, meditate for an hour. Do you understand what that's saying, guys? That if you say you don't have time for 20 minutes of going inward, then you might need an hour. Like, if you can't find 20 minutes for yourself, then maybe you need an hour. Because you deserve to give yourself this. And I get it. That might seem, especially if you're beginning to sit still or to just meditate for 20 minutes, might feel like there's no way I can't do it for 5. Well, okay, then start with a minute. Start with 1 minute of in the morning before you pick up your phone. Because remember, you check in with the world inside of you before you check in with the world outside of you. So do your 1 minute meditation, whether that's seated or you can focus on your breath for 1 minute or the sound of your air conditioner for 1 minute or whatever it is, right? And build up that muscle of showing up for yourself, of saying you're going to do it and you do it. And you sit down and you do that 1 minute meditation. And then you might have a morning where you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it for 5 minutes today and see how that feels. Just keep showing up consistently. You don't have to be start saying 2025, I'm going to meditate for 3 hours a day every day. You don't have to do that to get the benefits. Have I spent days where I've literally meditated half the day, the full day, 4 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours? Absolutely. I have had those kinds of days of introspection, of meditation. And that doesn't mean that my daily practice means I meditate for hours every day. It just means that I have consistently, for over 8 years now, I have committed to meditating daily in some way, shape, or fashion. And if you didn't know, airports even have meditation rooms. Like they do. It's a little quiet room where you can go meditate. And you better believe when I'm traveling, I almost always make my way to the meditation room, especially at the airport. I've been traveling all day or doing whatever. I just want a minute. There's no phones allowed in there. I mean, you can bring your phone, but you can't just be on it, right? And energetically, it is a great place to reset. So what I'm saying is that don't make excuses. Even some of the excuses you may make in your head, there's a solution for it if that's what you're looking for. And this is something too, ever since my girls were little and I've been on this journey, I've shifted the way I've said some things, and instead of telling them to be problem solvers, because that focuses on what? The problem. I tell them to be solution seekers. And so I'm going to tell you the same thing. instead of focusing on the problem of like, well, I can't meditate because I'm busy and I'm this and that, and I've got young kids and I've got responsibilities at work and I have a high level position and this and that and the other. Okay, quit focusing on the problem, focus on the solution. And the solution is, I'm ready to timeline shift. I'm ready for quantum leaps. I'm ready to step into my power and experience like all of these shifts and all of these benefits to my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health. And I know meditation can get there. So I'm going to find a solution. I am going to seek the solution for how I can work meditation into my life because I'm worth it. And this is the key. This is the key. So I also want to tell you why starting with an intention amplifies your results and keeps your practice focused. Because as I've said before, intentions plant the seed. And so even when you're going to meditate, so let's say whether you have 1 minute, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, set the intention when I like to clear my space. And again, sometimes like I just mentioned, this could be in an airport. You're not always going to be at home with your altar and your sage and incense and all of the things. And guess what? Those things are wonderful for setting the stage and helping you like relax into this meditative state, but they're not necessary. I can literally, even when I'm not in the meditation room in an airport, I can be in a place as busy as the airport and still, even with all the people around, close my eyes. Of course, if I'm somewhere where I feel safe, I'm not telling you to be in a dark alley in a city you don't know and be like, this is a good place to meditate with my eyes closed. No, be smart. But what I'm saying is like sometimes in a very overstimulating situation, like an airport, right, where there can be feelings of stress or anxiety, but all the things that travel and big crowds can bring. What I'm saying is you can still, sitting in that seat, even if you got somebody on either side of you that you don't know, you can still take that little moment to close your eyes, focus on your breath, set your intention for whatever it is that you want to do. I want to feel calm, a sense of peace, a sense of security, right? Whatever you want to feel in that moment, amidst the chaos, you can access that through meditation and going inward, right? When you allow yourself to connect, to plug in to source, to the quantum field, to all of the possibilities that exist within that quantum field, you really give yourself you're giving yourself a gift, and you're shifting your energy and you're attracting abundance and positive opportunities and experiences and people and situations. Like, I can't even tell you how many, when I travel, it truly is like consistently the best experience. I'm one of those people. Now, back when I was married, back before I started my personal development journey, one of my nicknames was Lucky Charm, and it was a joke because the other thing that was always said was that if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any at all. And I used to joke also that I like walked around with the little black cloud that just followed me, like storming down on me. Like that's how I felt. And that's what I said. And that's what I affirmed. And I mean, literally would said, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any at all. Now, fast forward to doing this work, meditation practice, manifestation, the quantum field, like all the things that I've learned and practiced and integrated. And now when I travel, it's like one of those experiences where I get the upgrades. I get the seat bumps. I get the upgrade to the rental car. I get upgrades to my place I booked. I get free tickets to the show, right? I go to purchase tickets and they're like, 1 second, let me speak to the manager. They turn around, they're like, you know what? Follow us. And they're just like, sit you right on the side of the stage in the service little table with service. And I was like, just there to buy a ticket somewhere in the stands, right? And it's like, no, come with us. Guys, these were not my kinds of experiences before. They weren't. And now this is like pretty consistently when I travel, especially the kinds of things that happen. They're just constantly gifts and upgrades and up levels and all kinds of just really spectacular, wonderful, generous things. And I've learned to receive and to attract them. And guys, meditation, like this all matters, okay? So I want to highlight the synergy between gratitude and meditation for doing just what I said, shifting energy and attracting abundance. When you stay in this place of gratitude, and guys, this is something that I've cultivated a consistent just attitude of gratitude. Because like I said, I've had a daily meditation practice for over 8 years now. I don't believe that was really defined my personality back then, but now definitely I have an attitude of gratitude. I mean, stay in a place of gratitude. And there is this synergy between meditation and gratitude. And it does shift the energy and it does help you attract abundance, okay? In all the forms. I'm not just talking about material abundance, just that sense of abundance of love, abundance of compassion, abundance of security, of coziness, of comfort, of just like all of the things, okay? So again, if you have not already integrated meditation into your daily life, please consider making 2025 the year that you do so. It is time, and you are ready. Now, I want to thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. And if you are ready to deepen your meditation practice and unlock new levels of manifestation, make sure to join the Self-Love Uni group coaching that starts January 15th. If you're listening to this on the day it airs, that's 2 days from now. You have time. Okay, and I'm going to put the link to join in the show notes. And until next time, guys, keep dreaming it, keep real-lifing it, and meditation will change the game for you. I promise you that. Okay? We'll talk later. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It. I hope today's episode sparked something powerful within you. Remember, every step you take towards your vision counts, no matter how small. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a second to hit that subscribe button or leave a review. That would be amazing. Or share the podcast with someone who's ready to bring their dreams into reality too. And if you're looking to dive deeper, connect with me on social media at Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, or at BE_what you want. Or visit dreameditthenreallifedit.us for more resources on aligning your life, business, and dreams. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep manifesting your dreams into real life. Love you, friends.